You see, brother, the betrayal that cuts the deepest is never loud. It doesn't come from your enemies or strangers, but from the woman you chose, the woman you stood by when she had nothing, the woman you protected and believed in, even when others doubted her. You didn't choose her because she had more. You chose her because you saw her potential, and you wanted to build with her. You invested your time, your loyalty, your presence, your guidance. You gave her access to your mind, your heart, your world. You showed her your vision, your discipline, your focus. And she said she loved those things. She said she wanted a man who would lead, a man who would protect, a man who would build. But she didn't realize what that actually meant, because standing next to you meant seeing herself for who she truly was, seeing all the ways she was, still living small, disciplined, emotionally unstable, lacking purpose, lacking consistency. It meant being forced to confront the reality that she wasn't yet ready to rise to the level you lived at every day without effort. And instead of being inspired to grow, she became intimidated. Instead of appreciating your discipline, she saw it as control. Instead of respecting your standards, she saw them as arrogance. Instead of loving your leadership, she began to resent it. Because when you stand next to greatness, it exposes all the places you're still refusing to grow. And if a person is not ready to evolve, they will start to resent the mirror you become in their life. They will start to sabotage the very man who was there to help them elevate, to guide them, to protect them. Because your strength becomes a reminder of their weakness, your stability a reminder of their chaos, your certainty a reminder of their confusion. And that's the betrayal that cuts the deepest. You start to notice it in the small ways first. The way she withdraws when you speak with clarity. The way she shifts her energy when you hold your boundaries. The way her eyes change when you remain calm while she tries to create storms. She starts testing you, pushing you to react, poking at your peace because your peace makes her restless. She wants a strong man, she says. But she doesn't realize that a strong man will not dance to the tune of emotional chaos. A strong man will not sacrifice his mission to validate moods. A strong man will not bend to her insecurities just to keep her comfortable. So when you stand firm, when you remain unshaken, when you lead without needing her approval, it triggers something inside her that she isn't ready to confront. She starts calling your calmness cold, your focus selfish, your standards impossible. She tells you that you don't care, that you're emotionally unavailable, that you're too serious. But it's not that you don't care, it's that you care too deeply about the life you're building to let it be derailed by emotional games. It's not that you're unavailable, it's that you've outgrown the need to be constantly entangled in drama to prove your love. She doesn't understand that your presence itself is love. Your consistency is love. Your guidance is love. But to her, who is used to chaos, your consistency feels like suffocation. Your discipline feels like control. Your silence feels like punishment. She starts to resent you for the very traits that once drew her in. She begins to compare you to men who are easier to manipulate, men who fold under pressure, men who make her feel powerful because they are weaker. She doesn't realize she's destroying the very thing she once prayed for, the very man who is ready to build something real with her, something lasting. She will leave, and it will confuse you at first, because you will look back at all the times you showed up, all the moments you protected her spirit when she couldn't protect herself, all the days you stood as a calm fortress when she was drowning in her own storms, and you will ask yourself why it wasn't enough. You will replay the way you held her, the way you listened to her fears, the way you made room for her dreams while you carried your own. You will question yourself, wondering if you should have been softer, if you should have bent your standards, if you should have played the emotional games she craves to feel secure. But you will realize that it was never about what you lacked. It was about what you carried that she was not ready to match. Because when she leaves, she doesn't leave for a man who is better, she leaves for a man who is easier, a man who will tolerate her chaos, a man who will bend and fold, a man who will give her the illusion of control she craves while slowly killing his own spirit to keep her from feeling small. She will call it peace, she will call it low drama, but inside, she will feel the emptiness of it, the boredom that comes with a man who has no direction, the lifelessness of a man who cannot challenge her to rise because he himself has chosen to stay small to be accepted. She will miss the way your silence demanded truth, the way your presence commanded respect without a single word, the way you moved with certainty when she was lost in confusion. She will remember your strength not as a burden, but as the gravity she once felt safe within, even if she could not admit it. Then, you have to understand that your power was never the problem. Your vision, your discipline, your consistency, these are not flaws. They are your strengths. But to someone who hasn't faced themselves, who hasn't healed, who hasn't chosen accountability, those strengths become threats. Your standards feel like judgment. Your silence feels like rejection. Your purpose feels like abandonment. She will twist the narrative to protect her ego, because it's easier for her to blame you than to admit she wasn't ready for the kind of love you gave. She will say you were too focused, too logical, too emotionally distant, but you know the truth. You know that you gave with your whole heart. You showed up even when it was hard. You tried to love her into a higher version of herself without ever demanding it. You tried to build a world where her insecurities could find safety, not fuel. But she didn't want safety. She wanted control. She didn't want peace. She wanted reassurance through chaos. She didn't want a man who stood strong. She wanted a man who would crumble to prove his love. And that's not love. That's emotional dependency masked as romance. You will realize that staying would have meant betraying yourself, dimming your light, lowering your standards, sacrificing your mission to manage her moods. You will see that leaving wasn't weakness. It was self-respect. You didn't walk away because you stopped caring. You walked away because you started caring about yourself. You stopped apologizing for your excellence, for your power, for the life you were building. You understood that you cannot build a kingdom with someone who craves emotional roller coasters over steady foundations. You learned that the peace you carry within is sacred, and not everyone deserves access to it, especially not those who choose to destroy what they secretly admire but can't yet handle. And now, brother, this is where your true life begins. In the quiet moments after she's gone, you will feel the sting of her absence, but you will also feel the weight lifting from your spirit. You will realize how much energy you spent trying to manage her insecurities, trying to fix arguments you didn't start, trying to prove your loyalty to someone who was determined to test it. You will see how much of yourself you silenced, how many dreams you postponed, how many moments you doubted yourself just to keep her from feeling inadequate beside your strength. And you will finally understand that her leaving wasn't your loss. It was your freedom. Because now, you get to rebuild without shrinking. You get to love yourself without condition. You get to pursue your mission without emotional sabotage pulling at your energy. You will notice your mind becoming clear, your spirit becoming light, your days becoming purposeful again. You will move with calm confidence, no longer needing to explain your intentions to someone who never really listened, no longer questioning your worth in the mirror, no longer carrying the guilt she tried to place on your shoulders. And in this freedom, you will begin to attract different energy, people who respect your presence, people who value your silence, people who feel safe in your discipline instead of threatened by it. You will realize that love is not meant to be chaos, that peace is not boring, that a woman aligned with her own growth will never punish you for your power, but will honor it, protect it, and match it. You will understand that your greatest revenge is not proving her wrong, but becoming so grounded in your purpose, so unshakable in your standards, that you build a world where only those ready to rise can enter, and you will protect that world without apology.